Hello and welcome to CLMB's Cracked Knuckle Productions. My name is Chris and this is Project Weyard. I'm so excited to be back and I hope that all of you are doing well. If you've been following my progress on Reddit and to some extent Discord, I've been posting the location icons that I've been creating for this project, and on a couple of occasions people have stated that they're really happy to see their favorite locations pop up. And I think this is a very interesting subject. What locations or kinds of locations, cities, dungeons, or passages in this series stand out to you most and why? Alright, perhaps this is a broad question and needs some clarification. But something that I've been using for my map project to help myself categorize all these locations is this little list that you are seeing now. Perhaps it can help you figure out what kind of level design you like best as well. Now that we have a list, let me give you a few examples for each of these and attempt to define them in turn. As is the case with many of these, sometimes the lines are a bit blurred, but that's fine. Perhaps a Venn diagram would better suit this endeavor, but generally speaking, I think this is a good start. If you have any thoughts or think that points of interest should be added as a fourth category, let me know. Alright, let's get started. For cities, towns, and villages, think of places like Vale, Vault, Tolby, Madra, Lumeria, Champa, and let's even throw in Southeast Angara Islet. Typically, these are places where you might find yourself a sanctum so you can revive a downed character, an interest in, and shops to buy equipment. And it might even include a limited number of puzzles that encourage the player to explore these places fully. From an aesthetic point of view, the music coupled with these places' unique layout and art design reminds the people of the time and effort developers put in place behind the scenes to make things pop. But perhaps the most important aspect of these places is that they often serve as the location for you to learn about the next narrative beat as you interact with the NPCs that populate them. That said, to be a part of this category, they don't have to include all of these things. Lumeria and Southeast Angara Islet have no inn to heal your party, and the islet was essentially created for a fetch quest. Furthermore, some of these places like Vale act as a nexus point for the next category of level design I want to discuss: dungeons. For dungeons, think of places like the 4 elemental lighthouses Kolima Forest and Trut, Lumpa Fortress, and Islet Cave. Consider what these places have in common. They are often filled with puzzles for players to overcome and bad guys to slay. Also, to be a dungeon, the player typically enters and departs from the same point. A possible exception for this might be found in Golden Sun's combined Babby and Venus Lighthouse dungeon. I say for the most part you won't find other NPCs in these dungeons, though the Elemental Lighthouses, Lumpa Fortress, Kandurian Temple, the Shrine of the Sea God, and others akin to these prove that there are many exceptions, and typically after beating a dungeon, either shown by defeating a boss or perhaps obtaining a new power or gaining a special item, means that you've come to the end of a particular narrative beat. Finally, let's talk about what I'll call passages. Goma Cave, Bilibin Cave, Mogul Forest, the Karagal Sea, Shula Desert, Yampi Desert, Ganduan Cliffs, and the Kimbombo Mountains are just a few I'm calling passages. In essence, each of these locations serve as a playable portion of the overworld map that the player must navigate through, and unlike a dungeon, you enter from one area and leave from another. These points of ingress and egress are visually communicated by the depiction of twin icons on the world map. And like a dungeon, you will have everything from enemies, bosses, puzzles, and access to new abilities and more. Now, there are a few places that don't really fall into any of these categories cleanly, and they are found primarily in the Lost Age. These are the areas that I can think of off the top of my head are the caves where you find the summon tablets, as well as the small islands around the world. Also, Prox and Yulin might be categorized as passage cities, as they offer a number of points of entry. So, as mentioned, perhaps I need a fourth category, or more. So, here's my question for you. What is your favorite city, dungeon, and passage, and why? I'd love to hear from you and continue this discussion in the next few episodes and share with you my favorite locations as well. As always, happy world building and blessings.